So just to see Deku turn his back on All Might and leave him just without so much as a goodbye, and then, unbeknownst to both of them, Stain, he's lurking in the background and he's about to do who knows what. Welcome back to the Red Stool, and today we're talking about My Hero Academia, chapter 317, Scars, Blood, and Filth. And that title, it's actually foreboding as to what we get at the end of the chapter. But, of course, we have to start our stories where they begin, as Morty would say. But all the pro heroes, they all survive the explosion at the little hideout. And, they're all regrouping and they're trying to figure out just what their next move is going to be and how exactly are they going to get this information on All For One so they can track him down and they can put a stop to him. Because, of course, as we know, the police are completely overwhelmed with just how entire cities are basically like criminals are running wild and on the loose, and there's so much going on that the police can't join and help them in their investigation. So right here, this already just shows us just how much the police are involved with hero work. Like, we all know, like, they were a big help, but to now have the heroes just on their own, and it's like they're just being attacked on all sides, because also they have the media, and the media, they're getting closer and closer to unearthing like Deku's secret and everything as far as what One for All is, and it's just crazy. So now they have to worry about that. Plus, they have more heroes quitting by the day. Now, I'm surprised by this because, he was one of the first pro heroes we actually saw. And Death Arms quit. He just like up and took his costume off and was like, hey, I thought I was better than other people too, but I'm not. You know what? I'm just a human. The pressure, it all got to him and it became too much. So just to see one of the heroes that we've known from the beginning and just to have him up and quit, like, it's too much, I can't deal with it. It says a lot about just how they marketed being a pro hero as a job, because we understand, like, we're not looking at it as, this is something selfless that person's doing and, they want to do this, their heart's in this. No, at the end of the day, being a hero is another job in their society. So, of course, people can quit. You don't like your job, you leave. And we all have to understand that that's on par for the course with hero society. Like, everybody, you don't have to still be a hero. It's not like you're not obligated to do it. You're choosing to, and most of the heroes have chosen to stop. And, with every pro hero that leaves, of course, there's a little bit more information that's leaked out to the media, and they start to say certain things because as you leave any other job, you start not telling the truth, but telling how you feel, like, oh, I don't like this isn't fair, why do we have to deal with this? And it seems like that's what a lot of the heroes are doing, and it's making things harder for the heroes that are actually like, we got to stick around, because without us, society is going to fall apart. Like, we can't just up and quit. Sure, they are doing it, but there's so many consequences, because for every hero that quits, there's another villain that's emboldened. And there's another vigilante that thinks, well, see, look at the heroes quitting. Now I have to take things into my own hands. And it's all just getting to be too messy. But this type of chaos is exactly what All For One would want, because he can thrive in this. Or he can come back and say, you know what? Let me fix society. This is what's wrong. Let me put things back into place, and I'll make sure everybody's safe. People can go back to work. Heroes can even do hero work. I'm just going to fix society and put it the way it needs to be, because that's exactly the type of guy he is. He's smart. He knows how to control and manipulate society, as we said. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him already trying to rebuild society in his own, like, sick, grotesque image. And it would probably work, because people would probably feel safe and they would feel comfortable. But back to the heroes and their conversation that they're having. Hawks, he's trying to kick everybody out of like the pity party. He's like, hey, come on, look, we're all talking about how things could get worse. Things are already worse today. This is horrible. Like, no one has ever seen society like this. So We're already at the end of our rope, but we need to figure something out. We're gonna have to do it on our own. We're gonna have to find All for One, and we're gonna have to end this. We're not gonna get any help basically from the police, citizens, or whoever else. Like however many other people are quitting, we need to keep Deku's secret amongst ourselves, and we just have to work with what we have. And of course, as they're having this conversation, we also find out that another hired assassin was sent at Midoriya, but unlike Lady Nagant, Deku now he has, the Fox 100%. So he makes quick work of it, very quickly. Like in the panel, you just see, he lays the villain out and he's just holding him with Black Whip, looking at him. He had a quick interrogation, but of course, this villain didn't really have any information. So he's like, all right, cool, I'm out of here. I'm on to the next one, or just on to saving random people I see outside and trying to hunt down All for One as well. But All Might, he's growing concerned because when we see Deku, it doesn't really look like the Deku that we know, he looks different. Even from when he first, donned his new costume with the Gran Torino hood and the face mask and he has the new support items on his arms, but he has this different feeling to him. He looks mean. He looks like a villain almost, but it's all because of everything with All for One and how we say, hey, it's your turn. I'm going to devote all my energy to attacking you, destroying the things that you love. You have my complete and undivided attention. And so psychologically, he's already he's distanced himself from everyone. He's like, okay, I don't have the luxury of any of those things that I had anymore. Yeah, sure, I could sit down and I could enjoy a quick bite while I talk to the predecessors, or, take some tips from All Might and, the rest of the heroes helping me out. And, we can work and do our thing. But now he's like, he sees all that as a liability. He's like, all that can be used against me. All for One, he can attack All Might. He can attack some of these other heroes. I need to just be on my own. Right now, with my Fox 100%, I'm on a level that All Might was on, so I'll be fine. Plus, he doesn't have to worry about the recoil anymore because he can just stockpile that energy up and then use it again whenever he needs to. So he's just pushing everyone away. He's like, you know what? No, it's my focus right now is All for One. I don't need to worry about eating, sleeping, whatever. It's All for One or nothing. I have to put it into this. And All Might, he sees this, and basically, it's like Deku's almost like his surrogate son, He's like, hey, especially after what he told his mom, I'll protect you, I'm going to make sure he's all right. And he was even a few chapters ago when they were first attacked by Lady Nagant, he has that speech where he's like, listen, I'll die for that kid, you better back up. So to see Deku, turn his back away from All Might, and it's so coldly, and it's in such a contrast to him crying just because All Might said he could be a hero and being his biggest fanboy and always wanting to be like him. Now, he's turned his back and he's floating away and he says, hey, I'm fine. Don't worry about it. Leave me alone. And, it's sad. It's a sad scene. It's a sad moment. It's almost night and day to how we started this series. The ultimate All Might fanboy, and now he's turned his back on him. He not really, and it's not because he wanted to, it's just because of what All for One did. And you can see how he's being changed and he's being warped as a person, because if we look at his costume, when he started, it was basically his reference to All Might, with the hair and the smile. That was the big thing. Now, when you look at his costume, when you look at him, his eyes are intense. They're fierce. Smile, it's menacing. The costume, he's in tatters, but just has this threatening vibe. And it also reminds me of the vibe that All Might had when he was training Bakugo and Deku, plus when the villains invaded the school, when they first had the encounter with the Nomu, how he wasn't smiling and he just had that oppressive, intimidating aura. I think Deku recognized that, and Deku's like, you know what? This is the type of hero that I need to be right now. Hero society doesn't need someone to smile, say everything's okay. No, I need to be a symbol that villains are terrified of. When they say me, I want them to run in fear. When they see me, I want them to feel like, okay, you know what? I don't need to do any crime. I'm going to just stay in the house. I'm going to do whatever. Like, he was going to put the fear back into villain society. And all for one, he's like, you know what? No, like, this is what I'm going to be. I'm going to be the ultimate symbol of fear. And that's how he's coming off. That's how you can see in his eyes. Like, his eyes are different. They're not like the full of that glow and passion that, you know, Lady Nagant was talking about. Sure, it's there in his heart, but right now, he just sees red because of everything that All For One is about to try to do to him. So he has to put a stop to that before it can even start. You know, another thing that I'm kind of thinking about is, you know, we've all been, well, I talked about it a little bit, but what was Stain going to do? We see Stain, he's hiding in the shadows as Deku floats away from All Might. What I'm trying to figure out is, you know, what is this altercation going to be? Because we already know, like, Stain's ideology. He's actually an All Might fan. He deemed All Might as the only hero that's truly worthy. Everyone else is a fake. So I'm surprised to even see him here with All Might and with Deku, just because I assumed he'd be going after all these heroes that are quitting. Like, see, like, that's who I assumed his number one target would be. He would be out here killing heroes who've quit and decided that they don't want to be heroes anymore, just because he's like, see, you're a fake. You never should have been a hero. And now, you know, of course, I'm going to kill you because you can't quit being a hero. And maybe, just maybe, he could help. He could have some information regarding All For One, but I doubt it, just because I don't know. I don't see Stain going up against Deku as, oh, I'm going to capture you for All For One, just because he views Deku almost as the same way. Like, okay, kid, you know what? You're a real hero. You're not a fake either. And I feel like him hearing that conversation between them and seeing what Deku's doing, like, he's not even stopping to eat or rest. He's running off to do more hero stuff. It's just going to reinforce that logic. So they could just have an ally in this. Like, hey, you know what? The heroes have walked away from you guys, but I don't like All For One either. This guy is a villain. I need to, you know, I'm going to help you guys stop him. And it might be one of those things where, like, the rest of the pro heroes are like, are you crazy? We're not working with that villain. How many heroes has he killed? And it's like, hey, like, you can't, right now, you can't be choosy because there's no one else out here to help you. So this is someone who has an understanding of the underground because he's been in it. So we need to take his help. And I feel like that's what we're very well going to see in the next chapter, is them having some type of talk, conversation, or agreement as to Stain working with Deku and All Might. Maybe even him saying, look, he might not want you to be around him, but hey, I'll keep up with him and I'll keep tabs on the kid to make sure that he's okay. He might take that up for All Might, since, you know, All Might, he's not really in a position to do it anymore. So we could see that. And then just also, like, with the picture that the last chapter ends on, with just Deku and how menacing he looks. And it doesn't say who's exactly talking, but they're like, oh my gosh, he's like caked up in blood and the blood's covering his scars. He looks like terrifying. You wouldn't think he was a hero, but it's like he swoops in, he incapacitates whatever villain it is, and then he just gets out of there. He doesn't even say anything. It's just like that. And I'm not gonna lie, the first thing I thought was, okay, that sounds like Toga's wet dream of Deku. Like, oh, seeing him like that, she's probably gonna go nuts. Like, oh my gosh, look at Deku. You're so hot because you're covered in blood and you look like a monster. Like, she's probably gonna be head over heels. If she was already head over heels for him, now she's gonna start doing backflips. Back to my point, I think this is the type of hero that society needs right now. Someone that villains would be afraid of. In a time where it almost seems like they can run around with impunity, they need somebody to be afraid of. They need someone who's going to swoop in and in 1 second, without saying anything to you, completely incapacitate you, knock you out, stop whatever you're doing, and then on to the next villain. Right now, this is definitely what we need. And with this new Fox 100%, hopefully the next assassin that All For One sends, we'll actually get to see the fight, and it'll be, I want to see like I want to see a fleshed out fight, like that maybe spans a couple chapters, just so we can see everything that Deku is capable of using Fox 100%. Thanks for sticking around for the video. Thanks, to everybody who's watching, liking, subscribing. It all helps. So I appreciate you guys being here. I'm going to see y'all later. Peace.